Hey everyone. So I've got about, what would I say, about 30 minutes before our private class. I've got a private class that I do. Um, and I can see a few of you guys are already on here. We had about 15 people that reserved this one and wanted to make sure they didn't miss it. So that's cool. Hey, great to be here. The only issue I'm having is I am unable to see any responses that may come back because um, Revo, the site I'm using this from, is not as it's not giving me everything I need. Maybe it's just because I don't know. Anyway, is there anything that anyone wants to talk about or go through? Because I could go through the commercial set of plans, which is what I was going to do, um, and go through that and see if there's anything that anyone wanted to talk through. Specifically, I'm looking at a full set of commercial plans and didn't know who wanted to see that, or we wanted to talk about like an MEP, or I could talk pretty much about anything. But I'll start with these. These are a full set of commercial plant prints that we're building right now. Actually, I'm on the site of building this project right now, and we are working our way through. The site is absolutely magnanimous. It is a big site. I'll scroll through here to give you some understanding of. Actually, I pulled up the commercial set. So we can go through the commercial plans if you want. If that works out better, I could either do this or I could do the commercial set. This is the commercial set that we're working through right now. So this is a bank in the middle of nowhere. You can see our plan view. I don't know if anyone can see behind me. I'm pointing over my shoulder. Off to behind me is an orthographic. And that orthographic is basically the explanation when we talk about the foundation of these projects and how they work. I'm going to swap over to my page and see where we're at. Nope, unable to do that. So I am flying blind in here because it is not, my streaming network is not giving me my feedback. So I can't see what's actually happening on the other side, if there are any questions, if there's anything that's happening over there. So that's becoming really frustrating for me. As you can imagine, I want to see and answer the questions as they come up. So this is not what I would consider ideal. I want to be able to see what everyone is asking, what everyone wants to know about. That's annoying, and I apologize for that. So, if there are any questions, let's start with that. I can go through the commercial set and go from there, or we can head on to something else. But anyway, all right, I'll go ahead and do this. Make it a little easier. I just wanted to know if anyone could hear me out there, since this is not giving me any feedback. But it looks like it is. It looks like it's giving me what I need. So we'll go from there. So I'm using Bluebeam, just so anyone knows. This is a plan view. This is our internal, or an ACP, acoustical ceiling tile, ACT, sorry, acoustical ceiling tile plan. This is a one-story commercial bank. And then as you make your way, if we were going to go from the beginning, let me go to the beginning. So this is part of a test that I have. So that's what you're seeing here. And if we were to go through, talk about the vicinity map, make your way to a location map. So vicinity is the further out, or a bird's eye view of maybe 10,000 feet, and then it makes its way to potentially maybe 100 feet or 500 feet. So you're getting a closer view. So if I was to bring that in, and you were to see how that works. So it gets closer, and that's what would be the vicinity. Now everything over here is your drawing index. What it's talking about are your structural, S, mechanical, plumbing, electrical. You can make your way over to here, architectural. Most architects like to put A at the beginning, but you can see these architects moved it to the back end, put civil in front, and then did their generals. So usually we'll see general, architectural, and we'll make our way down the line from there. In this case, that's not what was done. The architect decided to do it a little differently. I usually don't see it this way, but to each his own. Every contractor, or sorry, every architect has their own. They'll talk about fire protection, general notes, which will basically discuss the basics. It's usually a boilerplate unless it has to do with the address or something to that effect. But 9 times out of 10, the general one page is usually just a standard boilerplate for everything. As is usually like this, Gen 102, we start to go through abbreviations, graphic symbols. We make our way through. Now, mind you that each architect or engineer, when they draft these up, many times they're much different. Meaning mechanical will have their own symbols and abbreviations. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing, they all have their own. And what's funny about it is if you start to look at these, I was even looking for like a water heater in one of these. WH is how they consider it. WH would be the water heater. And you'd be looking at this going, where's WH? And it wasn't here. It's because many times they're boilerplates and people get really frustrated. And you have to understand that sometimes they did not go thoroughly through it. Then we start to go into ADA, which is our signage. You'll see our signage here. They'll call this typical mounting diagram. So in this case, we're mounting of heights, where they need to go, whether it be a power outlet. This is a very thorough set. These architects were paid a lot of money to build this. So you can imagine how much detail they went into it. Just got the #1 gift badge. I think that's good. Thank you. So let's see. I don't know who of you is part of our private course. The private course starts at, what time am I now? 6:38. We start at 7 o'clock. I don't know if anyone is from here is on there. They said there are a few people who said they may swing over here. So very cool if you are. If you're not, would love to see you over there. Let's make our way to the next page. So this is Now this is our life safety. Life safety is your furthest distance away. And you'll see this a lot. I have a lot of my interns and APMs ask me this question right out the gate. They're like, I don't understand what this means. So in order to, when fire wants to see, there's a code, and the codes require you to be able to get to the furthest point in the building and out of the building in a certain amount of time. And then how much square footage is in this building and how many occupants can be there. So like many times you'll walk into a building and you'll see occupancy rate and it'll say 20 or 40 or 60. That's a calculation done by the architect or the engineer. Takes the time to verify. Like here, if we head up here to this top corner, and you can see the color chart, right? So that legend is telling you. So business area, unconcentrated tables and chairs. So if we pull out and we take a look, that would be this area here, this small green area. And then another one would be this one here with, I believe it's a conference room, right? So why am I blessing the first 10 people who messaged me? Oh, nice. We're heading for God. Well, good for you. And then what we've got here is a separation of exits. So that exit, your first exit is entrance here. And if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be on the other side. So there should be one, yep, on the other end. So that allows you the opportunity that this space is quite small in regards to getting out of here in case there was a fire, which is why they put 2 egresses onto this space. It makes it a lot easier to get in and out. The furthest point will be the red dotted line. You can see that, which is the furthest point to this bathroom, and their egress is down this way and out this door. If they were to take it from here, they would make their way all the way to the other end. So you're building a little Starbucks? Yeah, I've found that many times the smaller have more details as opposed to when's the blueprint course released. Hey, that was released. So if I was to pull it up, that was released, and I apologize I didn't get it out there, but I have the class. So if you go, sorry, I didn't mean to pull that up. If you go to my link and then you go to courses and downloads, you can take a look and see what fits your bill. If you are starting out and you're new to this, I would highly recommend the foundation course, which talks a great deal about isometric and 3Ds, which I could talk more about here, but I think it would spend a lot of time understanding how that works. Are you guys hiring? At the moment, no, we have a hold on hiring. At the end of the year, it's really tough to find. It's hard when we start finding people at this time, only because it's hard to find someone who really wants to start in December. Some people want to just start and are ready to go. Others don't. So I would highly recommend putting a resume in now or getting in contact. If you're interested and you're seriously interested and you're down in the South Florida area, which is where I'm at, you can DM me and we can go from there. I'm in construction management degree. Very cool. Good for you. That's what I did. I went to college for my construction management while I was working in the field at the same time. So it kept me quite busy for at least the summers. For the summer. I missed that. Oh, okay. I see. Listen, I think if you can get your education and you can afford it these days, fantastic. I think it's great. And by all means, you should be able to do it. My only problem is I'm finding that it is so hard to afford going to college these days. It's almost unbearable. I mean, you're talking to, unless you can live at home, go to school, and potentially get, and you're in the vicinity, meaning it's in your community or your state, so it's a lot cheaper because you get in-state tuition instead of out-of-state, and you don't have to live on campus. But if you're not, man, that is expensive. I've got a daughter and a son who are basically dealing with the same thing. One came home and said, screw this, I'm just going to stay home and I will pay for my education that way, which we've helped her out on. He is like, no, I'm going in the trades. I'm done. Not heading in that direction at all. So I get it. I absolutely get it. I think most people, I think at this point, getting your leg up with understanding blueprints, understanding the basics of project management, engineering. When I say engineering, I mean field engineering, which is someone like an APM or assistant project manager. And get your feet wet and start going from there. That is where I think you will get the best bang for your buck, and you're already out in the field in no time. So that's why I share a lot of those videos for that main reason. So these are wall differences. These are different types of walls that go in. And the reason they do it is because some of them have Kevlar, some of them don't. Some of them go deck to deck, which means to the ceiling. Some of them don't go deck to deck. Some are partitions that don't head up there. So you can see the difference is perpendicular to roof truss, perpendicular to roof truss. You'll see this one has 2 sheets. I'll pull up to the middle. This has 2 sheets of drywall as opposed to 1 single sheet because it's up against a wall. Then you can make your way over. I don't know if anyone has seen a deflection track. This track, I did a video on it probably about a few months back, or actually a month back, where it has little slits, and it allows the track to slide up and down. Usually this is done on a roof where the roof touches that track, and it allows the track to slide up and down allows the stud to slide up and down inside that track. And what that does is it allows, if you could imagine you had a wall and you had a heavy load placed on top of that track and it started to compress the track, it would compress the studs and it would bend, and that would deflect, and what would happen was the the wall would start to deflect and you'd see deformations in that wall. So it makes it a big difference to do something like that. So I highly recommend that deflection track. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go and take a look at some of my videos. It does talk about a deflection. I think it was on our last ground up we did. This talks about drywall coming up, and we can make our way all the way through this entire project. We talk about, let's see where we at here. Is this our deck? Our partition plan. So they're talking about the partition between the one wall to another. We're looking from a plan view. Now, these are some of the things we talk about in class, and I try to get as much of it in. I'm going to just go straight over, and we can do a section if that works for you. So let's head over to sections. These are starting steel partitions. For those of you who don't know, this is Bluebeam, probably one of the better software to use, or one of the better pieces of software to use when working with something like what I'm dealing with, like in a PDF, but it's more where I'm able to really dig in. So if we were going to talk about sections, visuals, elevations, so this is a perfect example. So I'm in a room. Let's go to the bathroom. It'll make it easier for those who don't know. Just got the number one gift. So we've got 8.22. So 8.22 is saying this is the page it's going to be on, Architectural 2.22. 3 will be talking about this elevation over here. 1 will be talking about this elevation over here. And 2 will be over here. So if I pull up to A2.2, which I don't think this will give me the opportunity to do, so we're going to jump over to A2.2. The benefit of the class that I have after this one, which is the private class, which all of you can be part of, it's part of that foundation and blueprint reading course, which is you are able to talk to me live, just like this, but I can hear you and I can talk about things and we can discuss anything you want. And that's a lifetime availability. So if you take a look at that, you'll see. So if I go to 2.22, hang on, let me get there. All right. So remember we were talking about elevation 1, 2, and 3. So elevation 1 shows the commode, the grab bar, the sink, and the faucet. So those right there are what you'd be looking at elevation 1. So if you move over to elevation 2, you're looking at the side. As you can see, this is the commode here. Now we're looking at the side of the commode, right? And now we're looking at the grab bars again. And then we're looking at side or elevation 3, which is now the dispenser, the paper towel dispenser. And this, I think, is the door. Yep. Or a closet. Actually, yes, it is. It's a closet. It has the hole in the middle. TA07 is a closet door. So that is how elevations work when you're looking, when the designer is looking to that. If we go back, well, we'll take a look at this. Now we're looking at the northwest elevation. And then if we were to head up and you were to start to see the southwest, southeast. So that's the other side. You're looking at the different elevations of this space. I'm pulling instead of pushing. How long is the class, if I don't mind? No, I don't mind at all. The class, when you say the class, do you mean the live course class, or do you mean the actual course for that class? Because the class that I'm talking about after this one is a 1-hour class, and that is each Thursday from 7 to 8. And that goes nonstop. You said all. So the course class is 1 hour each Thursday. The course itself is 20 modules. So you're going through, here, let me throw it up for you because I'm about to have to close this one out only because of timing. So if I was to share this with you, screen stop replace. Sorry, just going through a bunch of stuff. This is what the course looks like. and it's a self-paced construction blueprint reading course. There's also the foundation course as well. The foundation course is what talks about what's behind my back. I do a few videos on it. I talk about that as well. But this course goes through all the different modules, as you see here, the practice test, the modules, understanding dimensions. Then we go into MEPs. We go into interpreting key structural elements, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, layout and topography. I go through just what I would have gone through in college. Is what I do here. I probably a little more, to be honest with you. I've had a few people come back and go, this is like a college prep course, and it is. But instead of you having to go to college and paying hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, it's a lot cheaper. So, and then you have a final test. Well, I'm working right now with AGC and a few of the other agencies to get this accredited, so you have that credit, and you still get a certificate for this one through the state, but this is even better. So the ability to show this one off makes that much more of a difference. So it's worthy overall. Let's go back. Hope that answered your question, Thomas. So here we are, we're back over at the elevations. I'm gonna head down to there. We did safety, ADA, studs, door schedule. So then we head to the door schedule. Door schedules can be quite long depending on how big a building or design this is, Jessica. So it works out really well for everyone to be able to review and understand each door. So if I was to go to a specific door, type A would be a single man door, and then they will show you the room number, the type of door it is, the room name, the hardware set, and then everything that goes along with it. The material, whether it's aluminum, a glass, whatever, a storefront sometimes there is. I just lost my screen. Did it? Yeah, sure did. Just like we just lost the screen. And I had a feeling that was going to happen because this restream was having a real tough time. So I'm going to see if I can pull it back up one more time, see if we can get in there. If not, I'm going to have to work through a glitch here, which is not cool. Replace. Let's see if we can replace it one more time. Wow, that's annoying. Nope, it has totally burned itself. Interesting. Well, I'm 6 minutes to the end. I've got to jump over to the private course. I'm going to have to work this one out because that's the second time this is done. Restream seems to have a data glitch when I pull up the Bluebeam. It goes and falls out. So anyway, oh wait, you can see it on your screen, but I can't see it on my screen. Am I right? Yeah. All right. Never mind. It's still there. Okay, great. Thank you. I can see the table. Yes, I can see the table. Great. Yeah, on my screen, I'm dead. I'm blacked out. I have nothing on my screen right now. I have 3 screens, so one of them is gone. The other 2 are at least there, but it's not showing me what's happening, what you can see. But I can see on my small screen, it's still there, so that's good. Then we go to door hardware. Now, the door is different than the door hardware. Many times you'll have contractors who do the door and the door hardware together. You have some clients that want you to use a specific company, and they will recommend you go ahead and do that. There we go. Let me see if I can pull up we're going to go over and I can pull up your tables. So remember how we talked about the room? So here we go. 109 C102. The conference room is 109. The door would be 109 C102. And then we would go to that door schedule. So if I went back to that door schedule, I'm just trying to show you how this will work. All right, I gotta leave, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to make this longer, so I'm gonna make this an hour and a half class instead of just a half hour. I was trying to get in here and do as much as I could on a Thursday night, especially for the end of what's going on with the end of the year. So what I will do is I will set this up for longer, and I will make sure. Thank you all for joining. I apologize for the short one, but I want to build this. If there's anyone who's interested in seeing a specific part, like you want a commercial building, or you want a site plan, or you want a residential, or you want to learn more into something like that, let me know. DM me, and I will put it together and set it up that way. Again, thank you all for joining, and I will see you next. Now, next week is Thursday. Yeah, I'm going to be away. I'm traveling for a class course that I'm teaching. The following week, I'll set it up and I'll put it up here, and we'll go from there. Thank you all.